I did call it the wise parlay.
I just saw the fucking you on you retweeted it yourself and it was like the Nationals and you were
That was
just like
nuts.
that was not a wise pick.
To zig when everyone's zagged.
Sometimes you
I
just
could have.
gotta zag.
Yeah, that's right.
Like Bill Belichick. All he does is zag.
It's true.
Alright, we're live by the way.
Just on Instagram. I'm ready to start.
Also, I'm back on Bovada. I transferred some money, man. I'm getting ready for the NBA playoffs. I was like, am I really not gonna
Yeah.
bet during the NBA playoffs?
Gonna watch these games like a simpleton?
Honestly. Alright. Let me put it on my Snapchat. Oh, I gotta
Alright,
change
audio's good.
gotta change the font too. Nope, I feel like we've already done that one.
I always have so many Instagram notifications.
Yeah, Instagram's like the one I check the least of
Yeah.
notification wise.
Nine. Why are people DMing me so much?
My one buddy Ben will send me like 20 memes a day. So I just tell him, I'm like, you have once a month where I will sit and watch all your memes. So now it's like April's coming around. I'm like, all right, Ben, I'm coming up. I'm gonna watch all your memes soon.
What Garrett does to me. Like when I was in Cancun, I didn't check Instagram at all. There were just like 50 memes. I scrolled through.
I literally have to scroll like for at least 2 minutes before I even hit the top of like whatever memes are. I gotta take my composite photo today after this. So I'm gonna
Nice. You gonna go straight mustache? You shaving the beard?
No, I like how it is right now. I'll probably just trim the mustache though. It's a little hairy. It's a little in my grill. All right. It's funny, dude. There's always some guy on Twitch that immediately joins. And I never see anyone chat from Twitch. So if you're listening right now, give us a little hello. I want to see because you're committed every time. So I respect that. All right, All right, I'm ready. You good to go? Sorry, was that a yeah? All right. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Wise Guys podcast. I'm your host, Brady Fitzgerald, joined as always by my co-host, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
Doing pretty well, Chris. It's a Friday. I feel like we haven't done a Friday pod in a long time, and I'm
It does
excited.
feel like it's been a while.
I'm excited. So MLB opening day yesterday, Chris. You were our.
It's quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're starting this no internet thing early. Screw that then. Well, let me just stop recording and just try it again. All right, we'll do it. We'll just run it again. It's all right. Hello and welcome to the Wise Guys podcast. I'm your host, Brady Fitzgerald, joined as always by my co-host, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
Doing pretty well, Chris. Hopefully this is the internet isn't keep up this way. We had to just restart, so we're doing this again. But
Dude, we could get grumpy real quick.
yes, it could turn hairy. But that's okay. That's okay. We're pushing through it. So opening day was yesterday. You were in charge. The Wise Guys Twitter firing off tweets, firing off parlays. How did it go?
It's a mixed bag. I mean, something that you got to remember is 162 games in the season. I had one tweet where I was repeatedly telling myself that because I was so grumpy about the Phillies game, and then bets that I were making and I was giving out to everyone that just weren't hitting. I apologize if you took really any of them other than the Nolan Arenado RBI bet, but Wise parlay, it looked like it was gonna hit. Hopefully, you just took Aaron Judge to hit a home run and didn't take any of the other stuff. But to get like the risk-free promo on FanDuel, you got to do the 3-leg parlay, and it's got to be plus 400 or more. I did Judge to hit a home run, which is already like plus 300. Judge hits a home run in his first at bat. Like, all right, we're set. Look at this. We're gonna hit a 500 plus 500 parlay to start the day. I just gave it out to all the fans. The Giants got shut out and lost 5-0. It was a rough start to the day, but baseball's back. Opening day is like a celebration of the start of the season, so I calmed down pretty quickly. But
And
I apologize for the picks.
It's all right. It's all right. I mean, it happens. It happens. We try our best to be as wise as we can, and we put in the best input we can. Sometimes it doesn't go our way. So, we did. I did lose you for a minute there, but it didn't lose any of the audio. I got what you said. I want to just make sure that the stream is up before we continue, and we will continue. All right, we should be back. All right, we should be back. All right. Anyways, so opening day. So before we get into the main storylines of the MLB season, what was your favorite game of the day? And how many games did you end up watching yesterday?
I watched like 1 o'clock games I watched and the 4 o'clock games I watched. Then there's only one at 7 o'clock, and there were a couple 10 o'clock games, so I didn't watch those. But most of the games were at 4. I ended up watching a lot of the games. Orioles game was fantastic.
They played the Red Sox, correct?
Yes. Orioles, like I tweeted this out too, that they're gonna be fun. Like their lineup is good. They just don't have pitching. So like they got up 10-4 in this game, and it was 10-9 in the bottom of the ninth with the tying runner on. Things got hairy really quickly. This team, like they bombed. Like Adley Rutschman was the first pick a couple years ago. He came up last year, and like this is his second year. It's the year he takes a big step. He was 5 for 5 yesterday with a home run, and like this team, they're gonna be fun. Like he's a stud. Henderson's a stud. Mullins literally just have no pitching. Their opening day starter was Philly's 6th starter last year. So I think every game they play is gonna be like 10-9. They're gonna have to score a lot to win. That game was ridiculous because we were watching for a while. I was like, all right, this game's over. They're up 10-4, and then slowly the Red Sox, actually not that slowly, because it was really in 2 innings where they made it interesting. All of a sudden, the tying run is on second base, but they pulled it out. So happy for the Orioles. I hope they do well this year.
Yeah, I mean from the Baltimore, I mean I guess Maryland area, Baltimore area, both of us. The Orioles, when they started getting good at the end of the season, of course I just lost internet right when I started talking. Can you hear me?
That's just a quick one.
All right. Just a quick blurb. God, it feels like Fridays. That's the one thing we talked about the first time that we haven't done a Friday in a while, and the internet's always the worst on Fridays. Tuesdays we could pretty much nail it out.
It's tired.
It is tired. It's been working all week.
I don't want to work anymore.
Anyways, the Orioles, as from the Maryland area, I mean, all of Baltimore lights up and the Orioles are good. They it's a whole different city almost. They freaking love those Orioles. And long years, God bless you, Chris. Long years of
Hear it or did you just see it?
What? I just saw it. Yeah, you're a little bit delayed.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. You're good.
Muted myself. So
Yeah, you're good. I saw it.
This time I'll sneeze right into the mic.
Achoo! Anyways, the Orioles, even though they're against my Red Sox, I told you, because of the shortened games. How short are these games now? Are they? Does it make an impact?
I haven't looked at the time of the games yesterday. It is quicker. I didn't really notice it that much, to be completely honest. There were some issues with it too. Like there was a weird call in the Mets game where the base runner wasn't back on the base in time. They gave the hitter a strike, which was weird, and then like Showalter ended up coming out and arguing it. There are going to be points where it actually adds more time. I think the consensus is like obviously in spring training it made the games a lot quicker. I think the consensus is it's working and it's really not that detrimental to the game. I don't think. I didn't really notice the difference. Like it didn't look like guys were rushed or anything. So if it actually improves viewership, I'm all for it.
Okay, but you couldn't feel it. Like you couldn't feel a sense of it being there.
A little bit.
Okay.
But it wasn't like it didn't feel crazy different. The game
Alright.
like the games were going by pretty quickly.
What do you mean by the base runner couldn't make it back to the base? What do you mean?
Like after the pitch,
Mm-hmm.
was like taking his lead and getting a secondary lead. He didn't get like you have to go back and touch the base.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't reset in time for like when the pitch clock started again, I guess it wasn't back on the base. For some reason that's a violation too. Then, like if the hitter's not in the box after I think it's 8 seconds, they get a strike. It was a base runner violation and they gave the hitter a strike. It was a really weird ruling.
That is weird. I guess what else would you really do? Like you can't really penalize the base runner, but
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Just like take him off the base?
yeah. You gotta go back.
But there are gonna be weird things like that happen this season. There was another one in the Phillies game where Grom the pitch com wasn't working, which is how they get the pitches now instead of like it's just like a buzzer thing. And there was something up with the technology. He like stepped off to try to figure it out, and then it ended up being a violation. And they put a ball on the board, and the manager was like, "No. We are not going to take a ball because our technology is not working." And eventually they took it off the board. But that was another like 5-minute discussion. So it is like
There's
are
some
going to be
there's
times
some
where it's
kinks.
counterintuitive and it causes more issues. But overall, I think it'll like, especially once people get used to it. I just hope that it works in terms of attracting more viewers. If you're speeding up the game for the people that are already watching it, I don't think the people really care that much.
No, because if you're already watching baseball, you're already ready to watch 4 hours of baseball.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't really. It did not affect my viewership at all. Like, I wasn't like annoyed with it or anything. I thought it was funny, honestly, when there were.
Hey, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just said a couple wrinkles in the game. They're gonna have to figure out. They have 161 games to figure it out.
It's a long season.
Yeah. So that's cool. What about the bases? Bases feel bigger. You tweeted out about that.
Oh, dude, they looked huge. Like, obviously, we saw the jokes about it this offseason, but they did look big. Like that's another one where, like, why not stealing bases is fun. I want to see the catchers throw down a second more. Oh, that one I'm all for.
Yeah, and in the World Series, it'll get us tacos. So all for it.
That's right.
We all for it. All right. Well, now we're gonna get into Chris your top 5 storylines for and maybe if you have more than 5, that's all right. For the MLB 2023 season, and normally we start with number 1, but this time let's go backwards. Start with number 5.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't really rank them, but
okay, then just start with whatever you want to start with.
I'm gonna save this one for last. We'll do, yeah. Can the league champions repeat? Is gonna be my first storyline. Pretty basic, but the Astros on one side won the World Series. They basically reloaded the whole team without Justin Verlander, who did win the Cy Young. So the pitching rotation took a hit. There's a little less depth there, but brought back everyone in the bullpen and basically everyone in the lineup. Altuve's out for a little while, but like this team is a juggernaut. To like 6 straight ALCSs. So I don't see anything that slows them down, to be completely honest. But it'll be something to keep an eye on. Can anyone actually handle this team come playoff time?
Megan
And
Thee
then
Stallion did the opening pitch for the Astros.
I saw that. Did you see?
The
Did you
catcher, the catcher.
Instagram comments?
Do you see the
that
catcher hug her
post?
ass?
Yes.
Hey, to be
The
fair,
Instagram comments on that post are some of the funniest I've ever read.
I haven't read the. I just saw it on Twitter and just seeing some guys clowning him. But
Yeah,
I thought that was
very funny.
hilarious. I thought that was hilarious.
Actually, did get beat last night, I think, by the White Sox.
There you go. The sleeper from last year is coming back.
That was my World Series pick last year. Anywho, and then obviously I'm not gonna make it all about the Phillies, but it is our podcast. I'm a Phillies fan. Bought in Trey Turner after going to the World Series last year. The team
Oh crap! Wait, hold up, Chris.
better.
All right, we're good. Keep going. Team got questionably better.
Considering the fact that they only won 87 games last year and snuck into the playoffs, they're gonna have to stay healthy, and they're already not healthy. Hoskins tore his ACL; he's done for the year.
Oh,
Harper's not coming back till hopefully mid-June.
what's up with Harper?
Maybe he had to repair his UCL. Last year, he just didn't get surgery. He played DH. He didn't play the field. So hopefully when he comes back, he'll start DHing, and then eventually he'll go back to playing the field, which will really help them defensively because their outfielders are awful. But also added Taijuan Walker, had some bullpen pieces. The bullpen on paper actually looks pretty good. We got shelled yesterday, and I just don't trust them ever, even if they're supposed to be good. So we'll see how being good on paper holds up for 162. But if everything goes right, they could easily make another run.
So, what's for both league champions, because that's what your point was, what is their biggest strength for the Astros and the Phillies, and their biggest weakness going into the season?
The Astros, I mean, it's literally everything, dude. They are... I think the only weakness is starting pitching depth. Like I said, Verlander's gone, and I think Lance McCullers is hurt, so they're gonna have to stay healthy, starting pitching wise. But knowing them, they probably have like 2 or 3 studs that can just come up from the minors and pitch on a given day. That's the only thing that I'd be a little worried about, and health. Altuve's out, and that's really the only thing that can slow this team down. They're insanely good. I think their lineup got better. Signed Jose Abreu from the White Sox. I don't know if he won an MVP. I think it was the COVID year, but he's gonna hit 6th for them. It's just ridiculous. It's not fair. The Phillies, and I mean, defense is the big thing that's always an issue. They're horrible on defense, but Trey Turner will help the infield defense at least. But the corner outfield spots they're gonna be a problem. And then I'm still worried about the bullpen. They have the names, but I don't know, Soto. I might be overreacting from yesterday. Soto and Brogdon both look so bad, but that's their biggest. The strength is the lineup, especially when Bryce comes back. They're gonna mash. Another one like the Orioles, where they're just gonna score a lot of runs every game.
Big hitters.
I'll go boom.
All right. So your next point of your top MLB storylines. What do you got?
We're gonna move to the Big Apple, to the biggest spenders of the offseason, and I wonder if this spending actually pays off. The Yankees brought back Aaron Judge, as everyone probably knows at this point, to a huge contract.
San Francisco 49er, giant legend Aaron Judge.
Yeah, for 7 minutes.
Yep, for about 10 minutes.
Shout out to John Heyman for breaking a false story and getting everyone's hopes up. There are probably a couple fires already in New York. That 7-minute span. They thought he was leaving for the Giants, but he's back. 9 years, $360 million.
Man,
it's a ridiculous deal, but he has another season like last year. He's earned every penny of it. But this team was awful in the playoffs last year. They beat the Guardians, and then they forgot how to hit in the playoffs, including Judge against Houston. So maybe this is the year where they can figure it out in the postseason. The pitching's really good. Went and spent there too. They brought in Frankie Montes and Carlos Rodon, who are both hurt, but this is a stacked roster. I think they're probably the second best team in the AL. I don't think there's too many questions about that, honestly, but we'll see if they can figure it out playoff time. And then in Queens, you got the Mets, Steve Cohen shelling out money to everybody. He's in Verlander, Kodai Senga, who's like Japanese guy, first year. They signed Jose Quintana, starting pitcher. They re-signed Brandon Nimmo to an 8-year deal. Re-signed Edwin Diaz, who's hurt. They just spend money. Like, he doesn't care about the luxury tax or anything. I wish every owner was like that.
Yeah, honestly. Like, if you're going to own a team, try to put in your all to
go spend money.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that pays off. There's no way that they're not at least, like, in the talk to win the division. I think the Braves are the favorites, but they're right behind them. They're also the Mets. So that's kind of what I said last year.
So tragedy's going to come.
I was just wait, and I said from the beginning, it was like, just wait. Just be patient. It will fall apart. It took a while. The second to last weekend of the year, got swept by the Braves to lose the division, and then they get beat in the first round of the wild card. So it's just not going to happen. The Mets, something will go wrong. you gotta believe in that.
And some already went wrong.
Regular season team.
They lost.
Yeah, and Verlander's hurt too.
I was gonna say
lost Diaz the whole year, and Verlander just got put on the 15-day injured list.
Oh, so not even a good start.
Not gonna cheer for injuries or anything, but it is very Mets like for stuff like that to happen.
Definitely. So New York, the two teams. You think the Yankees much better than the Mets? A little bit better than the Mets, right there.
I wouldn't say much better. I'd say there's an advantage there. I think the lineup's better. They just have to remember how to hit in the playoffs. They were horrendous against the Astros. They got swept, embarrassed at home. Like, their last home game they played, the ALCS was like, stands were like kind of empty. Like, Yankee fans were just so done with them. Like, no team gets fan reaction that the Yankees got. They make the American League Championship Series. Like, most fans, normal teams, are like, oh, it was a good run, we just ran into a juggernaut. We'll be back next year. Yankee fans were like, should fire the manager, like, trade everybody, this is a disaster. It kind of was. And when you're the Yankees, you have those expectations every year. Oh, I don't blame them, I guess. Just a very different look on your team than every other fan base.
Yeah, and that's where, I mean, even the Knicks are like the same way. I mean, everything, their reactions are always anything in New York. It's just bigger in New York.
Right, yeah, it's just New York. And the Mets too. Like, both these teams are World Series or bust. It's not like the Mets could go on a good playoff run, lose the World Series, and their fans would be happy. But the Yankees, of course, is every year it's World Series or bust, which is insane.
Oh yeah, I don't think
the Phillies last year. Like, once we were in the World Series, I was like, I really wanted to win, of course, because it's the World Series. But looking back on the season, it was a great season, an incredible run.
Yeah, you're just grateful to be there.
It's not a failure.
Yeah.
Either of these teams, it is a failure if they do not win the World Series.
High expectations for your team. Yeah. All right, number 3. Oh, sorry.
Every team I've talked about so far and continuing into this is a World Series or bust team. Go out west, get the NL West, and does the little brother, the San Diego Padres, finally win this division over the Dodgers. This could be a down year for the Dodgers, for their standards. They lost Trey Turner, lost Tyler Anderson, they lost Justin Turner, they lost Bellinger. So, while this is still a pretty loaded team, they're not going to be as dominant as they were last year. They're not going to win 111 games. I could be wrong, of course, because their farm system is insane. They always just call up these young guys who the Rookie of the Year every year, which is, again, not fair. But Padres traded for Soto last year. A full year with him. You have Tatis back. Did Tatis play yesterday? I don't know if he's back yet. Will be back. And Xander Bogaerts to play shortstop. The pitching is insane. But on paper, this Padres team, I think, is better than the Dodgers right now. Will that hold up for 162? I don't know. A lot of things will still probably have to go right for them. Tatis has been a mess between injuries and being suspended for PEDs. But they really need him on the field all year. Need a bounce back year from Soto. He wasn't great last year.
They have Manny Machado too, right?
Right. It's Machado, Soto, Tatis, Bogarts. Like, this team is loaded bats. And the pitching is no joke either. They traded for Josh Hader last year to back end of the bullpen. So they might be the best team in the National League on paper.
I forgot they got Bogarts.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're a kind of a smaller market team that just spends a lot.
And that's what you got to do.
Yeah, right. You just get an owner who cares about winning. That hard. Baltimore. But we'll see if they can finally win that division. I can't remember the last time. I don't know if they've won a division in my lifetime. Can't think of any year. The Dodgers win it almost every year. But this is the best chance they've ever had. Actually go win this division. And they showed last year they can beat them. They beat them in the playoffs. So it might not even matter. That is definitely a key race to keep an eye on as the season progresses.
That should be a fun one too, because it seems like, I mean, the Dodgers, I mean, of course they're nationally known, big market, everyone knows about them, and the Padres are kind of like, as you said, the lovable younger brother, because people have seen that they haven't won a division in 10 years or a lifetime or whatever.
Just now.
Well, weren't they the ones that made the song against the Phillies, right?
That's what's in.
Yeah, that's what makes sense.
It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
I saw something worse. We could talk about it at a later time, and I'll send it to you. There were some Mizzou fans and I guess students that made like some Mizzou music video, and it was awful. It was the cringiest thing I've ever seen. It might have been the whitest thing I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Worse than Left Hand Up.
I love Left Hand Up. We the Commanders.
Were we the Commanders?
Yeah, that song's amazing. All right. All right, next up. What do you got?
So all the teams I've talked about so far are big market guys. I'm curious as to which smaller market team has the best chance of making a run. So I guess who I'm looking at is the Guardians, Twins maybe, the Mariners, maybe even the Orioles, and the Rays. All those teams are going to be at least fringe playoff teams with pretty small budgets, not a lot of star power. I think Seattle's probably the best roster out of those five I just listed. They have Julio Rodriguez, who was the Rookie of the Year last year. A year of Luis Castillo, starting pitcher. They have Logan Gilbert and Robbie Ray. It's a really good rotation. I don't know about the bullpen, but that is a pretty strong team. So I want to see a team like that make a deep run, just so it's not the big boys.
And the Mariners, they finally broke their playoff streak last year, correct?
Yes. It's been 22 years.
Damn.
Which is wild. So yeah, they finally had playoff baseball in Seattle. So hopefully they can build off that. Maybe give the Astros a little fight for the division.
Probably not.
2 days out. Why not? But maybe. They're like plus 300. Maybe not a bad bet to take a flyer on. Just need one or two things to go wrong in Houston. But my big prediction out of this group is the Guardians, or my sneaky World Series team.
Oh, this is the one. Is this the one you got the future for? This is the one.
I don't know why. I think I just believe in like the Cleveland system, because last year they came out of nowhere. Were the youngest team in baseball, and they won the division. Gave the Yankees a fight. I really thought they were going to win that series. They lost in 5 games. But this year, They return everybody from that team. Jose Ramirez is probably the most underrated baseball player in the league. If you look at that dude's numbers, and he could be winning MVP every year, and no one talks about him, probably because he plays in Cleveland. But the starting pitching is really good with Shane Bieber and Tristan McKenzie. Bullpen is good. They've got probably the best closer in baseball with Emmanuel Clase and a bunch of young guys. So I feel like they know how to win a division now. This could be the year that they make a run. I have them to win the American League, not the World Series.
Okay.
I was like plus 1,100. That
All
was
right.
my ticket.
That's a.
So keep an eye on that one. Hopefully it doesn't implode like the White Sox did last year.
Well, I like it. I like that bet. Taking the small team Guardians. They were the Indians, right?
Where,
No,
yeah.
Guardians. Yeah. Cool. So that's the one that we teased last episode. The wise AL
It's a
champions
sneaky
pick.
pick. Don't like if they don't win, then like don't complain to me because it's just a flyer. Not the best team. Maybe. Maybe they make a run.
All right. I like it.
Oh,
All right, then that
believe in
means
something.
what would be number 1 then? I thought number 1 was going to be your pick.
Yeah, I guess that would have made sense. I told you I didn't really rank them. Like, this is the one that I saved for last because I think everyone's probably sick of talking about it. The Angels finally make the playoffs this year.
I was going to
Shohei
ask.
Ohtani.
I was going to
Like,
ask.
it is about time. And this is like they're a better team than they were last year. They gave him a little bit of help. I think Otani's gonna be a free agent next year.
He is. He's going to the Red Sox.
He's gonna command a lot of money, so they better win this year.
So who did they get?
He's gone. They brought in Tyler Anderson from the Dodgers. I don't even know who else they got. They didn't make like any huge splashes, but Rendon, they signed him 2 years ago. Hopefully, you can actually get like a good year from him. Oh, Brandon Drury was a decent signing. He's okay.
I didn't realize they have Hunter
Just
Renfroe
like a
now.
couple of depth pieces. They do have Hunter Renfroe. They have him and Trout. Exactly the same.
I'm looking at their
Pretty
pictures right
funny.
now. They look exactly the same. So yeah, so we've had this argument on the podcast before, and maybe off the air a couple times, where Mike Trout, I just don't understand how he could be this valuable of a player with never making the playoffs. But as you point out,
Made it once. They got swept.
all right, that's something. As you pointed out, though, baseball is more than just 2 players, and the fact that they're going to have the 2 best players, I think in MLB The Show this year, they were both 99 overall, and to have those 2 players and not make the playoffs, as they've been doing,
It's criminal.
it is criminal. And you look at, if you're already commanding that much money from them, you got to spend out the rest of the roster, like we've been saying. If you're the owner of the Angels, you just got to spend, and it's ridiculous it's not, they haven't made the playoffs in so long.
Not only they're not like just missing the playoffs either. Like last year,
Yeah.
they were awful. And it doesn't help that Trout always gets hurt. So he's got to stay on the field for at least like 130 games for them to have a chance. I'm looking at the lineup though, like it's not bad. They have Logan O'Hoppe. They got in the Phillies trade. He was like their best catching prospect. So maybe it's a breakout year. Maybe Gio Urshela figures it out. They need Rendon to have a bounce back year. That's the big one, I think. He's not going to be great. Going to have to mash. I don't know if I believe in them. I don't think that I do. But I'm rooting for them. Like I want to see these guys play in the playoffs. I want to see Ohtani game 1 of a playoff
I think
series.
for the sport of baseball, they need to be in it. They're the faces of the league, and not only is Ohtani the face of the MLB, but he's the face of global baseball, and they need him. They need him in the playoffs.
So I don't know. Figure out a way to rig it. Get him in there. Like everyone wants to see it. Like people aren't rooting against the Angels. Like nobody dislikes Otani or Trout.
Yeah.
Like the Yankees, like we just want to see them in the playoffs. Figure it out.
All right. So before we move on to some basketball storylines, give me your actual, doesn't have to be a long shot or anything, what you think the two league champions are going to be and who's going to be facing off in the World Series.
I want to pick the Guardians.
Oh, all
Uh,
right. All right.
I don't. You know what? The hell with it. I'll take them. I'll have the Cleveland Guardians coming out of the American League. Even though they're not the most talented team, I think Houston, like, we're trying so hard for so many years to make up for the cheating scandal. Finally got that World Series without cheating. It's almost like it's a weight lifted off their shoulders, and now there's kind of less pressure. So maybe that it's not that like they won't care as much this year, but it's like less of a fire, perhaps. That could be total bullshit. But the Yankees, I just don't believe in. I think they're talented enough to make it. Toronto's the same way. I think the bullpen is too shaky. Uh, takes care of all the best teams in the AL. So I think the Guardians get hot at the right time. They make a run. National League, it's tough. I might just go with the Padres. I think the Braves are the favorite right now. I can't pick the Braves. But the Padres made it to the NLCS last year, learned how to win a playoff series. They have the most talent. As long as Bob Melvin figures out how to deploy his relievers in the playoffs, and they're probably the most dangerous team. So that's what I'll go Guardians, Padres in the World Series.
I like it. I think that's spicy. I don't think that's a spicy take, and I enjoy it. So thank you, Chris, for your opening day insights and your storylines. So now we're gonna move over the NBA. The storyline wise, we've been up to date because every week it's 5 new storylines that people talk about, and it's half the time it doesn't even matter because it's 82 games in the regular season. But now we are at the end. This is playoff push time. There's a week left in the season. I'm pretty sure the teams have about 5 games left each, and then it's start of the playoffs. And there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm gonna do the same thing you just did, and I'm gonna start out with number 5, and I'm going with Kevin Durant's return to the Phoenix Suns. He played his first game in Phoenix Wednesday night against the Timberwolves. They won by 7. He had a slow game to start. First half, he only had 3 points. He ended up with 16. So not your best Kevin Durant game, but it's his first game back. Played 29 minutes, which is good. And I want to see Kevin Durant in the playoffs. I want to see him face off against all these teams that the Suns have beef with. The Suns have beef with, I feel like, every team, the Mavericks, the Clippers. Kevin Durant's going to have beef with the Warriors when they play. And I just want to see him stay on the court, and hopefully they continue to dominate. Because with him, since the trade, the games that he has played, I'm pretty sure they've won almost every one. And he's a great fit on this team. And they traded for Kevin Durant to win the championship. So I want to see how far they can go with Kevin Durant in the lineup.
And there's like no doubt that this is the most in the NBA right now.
Most
They're all on
talent.
the floor.
Yeah. When with them on the floor, especially with the West being so wide open as it is, that I think you're right. This is definitely the most talent on the floor when you have Durant, Ayton, Booker, and Chris Paul all on the floor. The issue with them is their depth around them. It hasn't been great. They have to play a lot of Josh Okogie minutes, a lot of Torian Craig minutes, a lot of Bismack Biyombo minutes.
Oh dear God.
I know, right? So those are all names that you don't really want to see on a finals contender, but they still have campaign. They got Terrence Ross and they got TJ Warren. If they can ramp them up a little bit, have them score a little bit more, they can get some pieces off the bench. The key with them, I think, is of course the key to any good team is their good point guard, and that's Mr. Chris Paul. This is probably his last chance in the league to win a ring. and he's getting nothing but older. He needs to improve on his shooting. He had played great in that T-Wolves game. Great assist number still, of course, but needs to figure out taking high percentage shots, taking open shots, and hitting them.
It's not even like his team anymore.
No,
That's the other thing.
no, it's not.
It is his last shot to win, but you trade for Kevin Durant, it becomes Kevin Durant's team.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
Booker has been more effective than him as well, so he's really like the third best player on this team. But the narrative will still be like Chris Paul can win
Yep,
if they
yep,
get knocked out.
definitely. And
So he's got to avoid that. Like this is have to win. They have to win this year.
Devin Booker, as you said, it's still so it's funny. It's Kevin Durant's team, but it's Devin Booker City. So I think that's a good thing for Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, and even Devin Booker. Devin Booker keeps to keep his spotlight. That's something that the NBA players really do take seriously. And just, I mean, when you add Kevin Durant on there, it's just adding a chance to win the championship. So that's what you want to see. I'm to the point where the Suns, as long as they're not facing the Celtics in the finals, like I would love to see the Suns finally complete it, finally get Chris Paul a ring. But we'll have to see what happens come playoff time because we know Chris Paul in the playoffs will just implode immediately and they'll find a way to lose. But I'm excited to see them
I don't have
face
any
off
issues
against
with
some
Chris
good teams.
Paul.
Nah, neither
I'd
do
like
I.
to see him win. It's just, I don't want to see Durant win another one, but
Especially on a team that he had to demand a trade for again, and he left the Nets. It would be another cold sore, but at least it wouldn't be on. He would be winning a championship without Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, which would be nice. All right, my number 4 is actually your all your storylines are about contenders and stuff like that. Mine is the final Wemby push. There's a couple more games for teams to tank, and the teams that are throwing it in are the Trailblazers, who shut down Damian Lillard. They're trying to get that chance. They have 9% odds to get Wemby right now if the season ended today, and that is actually the third best besides like the number 1 pick, like the final guys. They're like the third best odds to get the number 1 pick. So they're trying their best, trying to get help around Dame. And if they end up in the lottery not getting that number 1 pick, this might be the last time we see Dame Lillard in a Blazers uniform. It's becoming that point.
Yeah, definitely.
The
He's the guy that's like kind of like Beal, where he just wants to stay and make it work in his city, but I feel like eventually enough is enough.
He's become too loyal. It's loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
Like there's loyalty and then there's stupidity, and he's almost reaching that stupidity point where he just there's a great quote I'm not even from somewhere, just like in general, where if you keep trying the same thing multiple times, it's called insanity, and the same results keep happening. So
yeah, doing the same thing over and over and expecting the
different results. Yeah. So I think from both perspectives, the best point is to get rid of Dame. Just they have a bunch of young guys on the team, try to reload, because clearly the championship pushes for the past couple years have not been working. They've made it to one conference finals where they got swept, and
Blazers in 6.
What?
Blazers in 6. Was that the year where you said that? They're playing the Warriors. She might have been in the first round.
And he said what?
They asked Dame like what his prediction was for the series.
He said Blazers,
Blazers in 6.
Yeah, no.
It
was swept. Yep. So the Dame package, that'll be really interesting over the offseason. Other teams that are packing it in. The Pacers aren't playing anybody. They were a stealth tank team the whole year, but they had a great start to the season. Halliburton, and when all of them play, they're a pretty decent team. But now they're just shutting down their guys and losing these last couple games. The Pistons have been terrible all year. The Hornets have been terrible all year.
So bad.
Spurs. The Spurs, awful all year. And the Rockets, maybe the worst team I've ever seen on an NBA court. Their coach can't connect with them. Their players don't really like to play together, it seems like. And they're bad. So teams that aren't packing it in,
Beat the Celtics.
the Rockets and I was gonna mention your Wizards too, who beat us the other night. I
It's an
predicted
ass
on the
kicking too.
pod.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
I
even
predicted on the
close.
pod that it was gonna be literally the opposite of what happened. A butt whooping by the Celtics, and the Wizards just Denny career high of 25, and just
In
destroyed
all
us.
fairness, you said that Porzingis wasn't going to play. You said he was out.
Oh, and he did. He did play.
Played and scored 32.
All right. Well, I should have known. I should have known Porzingis. So, speaking
A
of the
wise
Wizards,
move.
they are a team that has been in no man's land for our whole lifetime. They are now they're the 11th seed, right there to the play-in game at 10. But if they lose the next couple games and pack it in, they can be right behind the Magic in the standings. So if I were
Nice.
them, that's what I would do. Knowing the Wizards, they're going to end up trying to make the play-in and maybe sneak in and just ruin their pick. But you know, they need to figure something out. They want to re-sign
Big
Porzingis.
game against the Magic tonight.
Huge game. That's massive. If I were you, I'd want to lose that one.
I do want to lose.
They
every game.
they want to re-sign Porzingis. Of course, they still have Bradley Beal, Kuzma. They want to re-sign, but Denny, Corey Kispert, Jonathan Davis. They've actually
Why
been,
is it Jonathan?
I don't know. It says
Notice
Jonathan
that
on
the
the
stat
thing.
sheet.
Yeah, Jonathan Davis. He's actually been playing, Johnny Davis, and he's been all
That
right.
is good to see.
It's better than what it has been because he's been stuck in the G League all year. So hopefully they can ramp them up. Maybe the last couple games just have the all young guys line up as they should. Try to lose these games, try to get them minutes. But nevertheless, knowing that they were the Wizards, they're gonna get the 13th, 10th pick and draft some all right guy. That
Do unspeakable things for Wemby.
Oh, I'm sure you would.
I want to care. I really do. Like, do you know how much easier it is to watch NBA basketball than it is to watch college basketball?
Oh, it's so much better. They actually hit shots. They play. Actually, college plays better defense, but they actually hit shots, which is always fun.
Just like all of the energy that I have for the Wizards has just been sucked out over the last 3-4 years.
And how could it not be? I mean, they've done nothing for the fans. They've done nothing for their team. They just love to live. They love to dwindle in this mediocrity, and it doesn't make any sense to me. If I was Tommy Shepard, I would have tried to trade Beal, try to trade Kuzma, try to get rid of them all.
And put myself in prison. Tommy Shepard.
But sadly, you're right. You would do. I would love to see Wemby on the Wizards. I mean, him, Porzingis, Beal. That'd be a fun team to at least root for.
Get him out.
Get Beal out. Just
all picks.
Yeah, I'm for it. I'm all for it.
Denny.
It'll never happen.
Kispert, Jonathan. Those guys. Get Wemby and get picks. I just want to watch young guys. I don't want to watch Kuzma. Like, as fun as he's been, like, honeymoon phase is over.
Well, and it's gonna be over when you spend $30 million a year on him. It's gonna be well over.
I can't even believe that. Refuse to accept that that's gonna happen.
Hopefully, I guess the best case scenario is that Kuzma didn't want to stay anyways, which it seemed like throughout the season that he didn't want to stay anyways.
So why didn't they trade him?
Because they're dumb. They're the Wizards. They are the Washington Wizards. Have you ever seen any of their contracts or the trades they've ever made? Been awful. All right. Well, enough of the Wizards. I'm going over to my next one, where the Sacramento Kings have had the second largest, or it was the largest because of the Mariners that we talked about earlier, seasons without a playoff appearance. It was 16 seasons from 2006 now to 2023. They have officially clinched the playoffs. They are the current 3 seed in the West. And with a wide open West, the question is, can they be for real? And they're a really young team. They don't play a lot of defense. They just love scoring the ball. And it's going to be interesting to see them in their first playoff series in 16 years. Get to see how they go. There's not a lot of pressure on them. No one's really talking about them. So I just want to see what happens in the playoffs, see how they go, see how they work. And with a team like that, they're gonna they're gonna score bunches on you. So you got to be wary of that. And their defense might not be great, but they might be able to outscore you. So right now they're facing off. If it started today, they'd be facing off against the Warriors, and it's kind of like a perfect little let's see what both these teams are made out of, because the Kings have been hot all season, the Warriors have been up and down all season. So we'll get to see what both these teams are made out of, and that would be a great playoff series, which sadly my predictions would be probably Warriors in like 5 or 6, maybe even 4. But love to see the Kings win, love to light the beam, and I just want to see how far they can make it.
Cool thing is, it's not like they backed into the playoffs.
Yep.
Like, oh, this is the first time they made the playoffs in forever, and they're the 10 seed. No, like, they've been really good all year. They're the 3 seed in the West. And you really can't drop down any further.
No, they really can't. Yeah, they're 5 games up
the
on the
4th seed.
Suns.
They're, like, locked in top 3.
Yep.
Which is awesome. Obviously, I love the Kings because of Kevin Huerter.
Oh, yeah.
Red
Velvet.
And also, like, how could...
I said Red Velvet.
Oh, yeah. Like, how could you not be rooting for this team?
No, honestly,
Like
there's
the
no
Mariners of the NBA.
Yeah, and there's no like they had their trade for Sabonis. They drafted Keegan Murray. They traded for Kevin Huerter. Malik Monk they signed this year. Harrison Barnes they've had for a while. De'Aaron Fox they've had for a while. So like this is almost like it's somewhat of a homegrown team. They have Davion Mitchell, and they like as you said, there's no reason to hate this team. There's no reason to not root for them. And I guess unless they're facing your team in the playoffs, but it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be fun to see some life in Sacramento, which we haven't seen in 16 years.
I'm excited to see the environment.
I am too.
Fun to see like playoff team that hasn't been there in forever, like what that first home playoff game is like. It's always electric.
What I'm worried about is if they play the Warriors, it's just going to be a Warriors crowd.
Oh, it's all Warrior fans.
Yeah, it's going to be a Warriors crowd. And
but, like, do they have a good fan base out there? I don't know. Like, no teams are in Sacramento other than them.
Yeah, I mean, they have a decent enough fan base. I remember at the beginning of the season, everyone was making fun of their fan base for hype. There was like the preseason games, and they played well, and they were like, "We're gonna win 40 games this year," and everyone was making fun of them. And now here they are. So hopefully, those fans who have been dedicated all these years, maybe like think about it. If you're a if you're a 20-year-old Knicks fan or not Kings fan, this is the first time you've ever seen him in the playoffs, really. Even if you're like 25, this is the first one you really remember. So this is going to be a huge playoff berth for them, and hopefully we see them make some noise because that would be fun.
Soak it up.
All right. Second to last one, and it had to be mentioned because it's the Lakers. But the Lakers playoff push, every game's basically a playoff game for them. They have to keep winning these games. Oh, yeah. And
like Donkey Kong.
Ever since the trade deadline, they actually got players around them, or the actual like NBA players on their team. So that has just been a huge improvement. D'Angelo Russell's been good. Austin Reeves has found his spot here and is going to get paid by the end of the season. It's opened up spots for Dennis Schroeder. Malik Beasley's been all right. He can improve on his shooting. But Jared Vanderbilt has been probably the biggest upgrade that they've gotten. Just some guy to help out Anthony Davis, more guy to play defense, and all that pressure helps out LeBron James. And it's fun watching these games because of how much it means to LeBron and it means to the players on the court. Because like this next game, they're facing the Timberwolves today at 8 p.m. And the Timberwolves are the current 8th seed right now, and the Lakers are the current 9th seed. This is another must-win game.
It's a playoff game.
So this is going to be a battle, and it's going to be high-intensity basketball. And I'm excited to see. Hopefully, LeBron keeps his keeps his health going, AD keeps his health going, and they can continue to rattle off some wins. Because we need LeBron in the playoffs. As much as people hate LeBron, he needs to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, as somebody who like doesn't really want to see LeBron win again, I really want him in the playoffs, and I would love to see them make a deep run. I
Yeah,
want them to win the finals, but that would be a great story. And like
especially
fun to watch.
they are fun to
We
watch.
only have so many years left of watching LeBron.
Hmm. And the fact that, a couple months ago we were talking about how this is going to be a wasted season of LeBron if they don't change anything, and as you said, we're not going to get many years of LeBron left. So every season for him needs to be a championship if he wants to get to Jordan,
Mm.
get that GOAT status that he so desperately needs. And the um what was I going to say? Crap. So every game's important. Every game matters. And there's a chance the West is so tight that there's a chance they can even just outright make the playoffs, not the play in. If the Warriors fall off a couple games, if the Clippers fall off a couple games, they can sneak their way into the 6th seed.
Play the Clippers too.
Yeah, and that's going to be
2 games from now, 3 games from now.
and that's technically at the Clippers, but it's the same stadium. That's going to be packed full of Lakers fans. And they have a pretty cupcake schedule rest of the way besides that Clippers and Suns game, and I guess the Timberwolves, because the Timberwolves have been red hot. But they're facing the Rockets Sunday, then the Jazz next week, and their final game of the season against the Jazz
easy,
as well.
Easy pickings.
They should be, and needs to be for this Lakers team to make it. It's funny because when you look at like Lakers Twitter or anyone that, because my brother is a huge LeBron stan, so I follow a couple guys that keep track of it, and they're every day it's like, all right, we need Timberwolves to lose, Thunder to lose, Mavs to lose, Pelicans to lose, and the Lakers to win, and then we're good to go. So
we're all set.
yeah, we're all it's pretty easy. So there's it's gonna be fun to see this race because from 4 to 11, it's separated by 5 games, which is what we have left, and it's gonna be exciting. All these West teams, it's gonna be playoff games. We're gonna be seeing early playoff games, and that's part of what the play-in has added, is because some of these teams, like the Timberwolves, they don't think like their loss against the Suns Wednesday was huge because now they're back in the play-in and they don't want to be in the play-in. They want to just make the playoffs outright. So it's playoff time early, and it's going to be some high level, intense basketball, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's the best time of the year.
It really is.
I mean, the playoff push and then going into the playoffs, there's nothing really beats it.
So ESPN, NBA on ESPN has a commercial. It's like that shows all the star players, all the stuff like that, and it says at the end, "What a wonderful time for basketball," and it can't be farther from the truth. I mean, it can't be farther than from fake. I don't know. It is the truth. It is the certified truth that it's a wonderful time for basketball, and I'm excited to see the rest of it go. So, number 1 kind of sucks. I don't really like my number 1, but it's the most important one. It's what everyone's been talking about, and we haven't done it here on this podcast, but it's the MVP conversation. Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and even Giannis is still in there for the MVP. And right now, it seems like the favorite is Jokic. Or not Jokic, sorry. The favorite is now Embiid. It switched from Jokic to Embiid. But with 5 games left, we got to see dominance from all of them, and we gotta see who makes this final push to win the MVP.
There's no way to give it to Jokic a 3rd time in a row, right?
That's what's so.
There is a way, of course, but I don't see it happening.
No, neither do I. And because once you get 3 in a row, 3 MVPs in a row, you are like one of the greatest players of all time. Yeah, it's Larry Bird, it's Kareem, and maybe Magic Johnson who's done it. So you need to be one of those marquee guys, and if they do give it to him this year and he becomes the 3-time MVP, the pressure for him to win a championship is going to be through the roof. And it already is. It's already pretty high. I mean, there's already 2 MVPs back to back. Why can't he make a run in the playoffs? Talk. So if he gets that third, it's going to be a massive, massive push for them to win the championship and a massive amount of pressure. But when you look at it, I mean, Joel Embiid has been one of the best players in the league. He has been just dominant on both sides of the ball, which Jokic doesn't do. He doesn't play really good defense, but it just like with the efficiency of Jokic, it's so hard to take those stats that I mean, there's all these advanced stats that the nerds love now, and Jokic checks all those boxes. So it's going to be an interesting race to see
He
how
play
because it
defense.
what
A good defender.
I know he should play some defense. It's like
Embiid is like long inside.
oh yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with inside. Where Jokic, on the other hand, is kind of softer player when it comes to that. So these next couple games, I think the Sixers have they have a big game against Boston. I know that. And looking at their rest of their schedule right now, they have the Raptors today, then the Bucks, Celtics, Heat, Hawks, and Nets. So the Hawks and Nets shouldn't be a problem, but three big games for Joel Embiid's MVP performance. He's going to be going up against Giannis, who's another MVP candidate. He's going to be going against the Jays in the Celtics, and then the Heat, and those are going to be huge games. If he puts up massive numbers the rest of the way, I can see him taking it. But with those matchups, we saw him almost. People called it a dodging on last Monday. It was supposed to be Jokic versus Embiid again, and comes out game time that Embiid nor James Harden are playing. So it was kind of people saw that kind of as a dodging of trying to, not trying to play against Jokic in Denver. But he's going up against Giannis. He's going to have to play that game if he wants it. And Giannis, on the other hand, it's funny. You can look if you just think about the MVP and what the MVP means, you just go, all right, who's the best guy on the best team who's also the best player in the league? And that's Giannis. So
It's
honestly,
gotten to the point where he's like LeBron in his prime, where he could just win it every year.
yep,
They're not going to give it to him every year.
yeah,
He is
I
the best.
he is, and he's the most dominant force on the basketball court to be playing this whole year. He's averaging 31 a game. I think Embiid is averaging like 32 a game or something like that. But if he puts up a bunch of big performances, especially against the Sixers, he could sneak his way back into another MVP. And no, I don't think anyone would complain if he won another MVP. Like
I don't know.
it just makes sense. Where, as I just said, best player on the best team in the league, and so it's gonna be interesting. If I had a vote, I'd wait for the last 5 games. I have no idea who I would pick, and I just can't get over the efficiency of Jokic. I mean, he shoots like 60% every game. It's insane.
Yeah, it is nuts.
So if you had a vote, what would you do?
I just don't want to see him get like. I know. I would still give it to Embiid.
Yeah,
Efficiency is nuts.
I would like to see.
And, like the pass
I
is
think.
ridiculous
I
for a
think for
guy
me,
of his size.
we would have to do. It would. I would have to see the comparison between Jokic. Oh, not Jokic. Sorry, Embiid and Giannis the rest of the way. If Giannis dominates in that Sixers game, might have to lean that way. But we don't have a vote here, so it doesn't matter. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes out. You want to hear my last 2 ones? I won't go in fully depth, but you want to hear my last 2 ones?
One of them about the Mavs.
I was gonna do one about the Mavs, but honestly, I don't really care about the Mavs. They're trash. They are trash. They don't play any defense. Their team just doesn't make any sense really on paper. Like on paper, we were talking about it when the trade happened, where it could go really well, it could go really poorly, and it's turned out to be pretty
Worst case
poorly.
scenario.
Yeah.
Worst
So
possible case scenario.
they might miss the playoffs as a whole. If I were them, they have to give up a top 10 protected pick to the Knicks. If it's not, I mean, it's top 10 protected. So if it's out of the top 10, it goes to the Knicks. And that's from the Porzingis deal back from a couple years ago. So that's a lingering,
Eons ago.
yeah, a lingering asset that could go back to the Knicks. If I were them, I just tank it in. I mean, they lost back-to-back games to the Charlotte Hornets. Um, that's just, I mean, if your team loses back-to-back games to the Charlotte Hornets, that's just, you should call the season over. Called over. They don't play any defense, and they have no rim protection. They have no wing presence, and it's Luka doing everything and Kyrie trying to keep up too. But their team, it's going to be an interesting offseason for them. They have kind of like, if they miss the whole playoffs, even the play-in, with Luka Doncic on your team, that is just one of the worst fumblings in NBA history. When you have a guy that good, a guy that we hail that much as a future MVP and a future face of the league, and you're gonna miss the whole playoffs, including 2 extra seeds to help you out in the play-in. So
It's unacceptable.
it really is. And for a team that we've been waiting to see put stuff around Luka, they made a kind, not like a Mickey Mouse run to the Western Conference Finals last year, but it wasn't. It was one of those runs where it's like, all right, they can do it, but was this really sustainable? And they kind of just ran it back.
Really
They
no.
lost Brunson, and they're kind of fumbled since then. They haven't been able to figure out the right pieces around Luka. And this offseason, it's going to be, if Kyrie stays, it's going to be a long time ahead of them trying to figure out what to do. They signed JaVale McGee this offseason. They also gave him a player option. So I'm going to report that right now that he's accepting it. And they haven't played him all season. So I don't know why they signed him if they're not even going to play him.
It's a weird move.
It's a bad team. So they got a lot to figure out. Well, that just gave me another point that you brought it up. But my other point that I was going to put is the Warriors. This is a test of if the regular season matters. They have been so bad away. Can you guess how many away games they've won?
I have the standings pulled up.
All right, don't
9?
look. Yeah. All right, yeah, 9. 9 games.
9? Didn't look, but I just remembered it.
So their home stretch is 31-8. Their away stretch is 29-9. Or sorry, 9-29. And that's
pretty wild.
It's only comparable to the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Pistons. Every other team has more away wins than them, including the Hornets, the Magic, the Pacers, your Wizards, the Bulls, Raptors even. Like, these teams are bad, and the Warriors are stuck on their plan with the away games. So this will be a test to see if the regular season matters. They have been pretty up and down all season and haven't been able to really figure out the rotation that they like. They had a lot of games with Curry out, but now they're at full strength besides Wiggins, and we'll have to see what they can do in the playoffs.
Still with Wiggins.
He has been out pretty much the whole season, like about halfway through the season, off some personal issue that no one's leaked. No one really knows what it's about. Hopefully he's okay. I hope Andrew Wiggins is, because he's a key to this Warriors team. They really need him. He was their second best player in the finals last year, and they need him back. But hopefully at home everything's all right with him, because if he needs that time off, then all the power to him to take it, because I don't know what's going on. So, all right, my final one then. I had to bring up the Celtics. I had to sneak them in there right at the end. My Celtics, they've had a couple off games. They've lost some really bad games, as I said, to the Wizards. But last night they dropped 140 on the Bucks, and Bucks only had 99 with their fully healthy team. It was the second night of a back-to-back for the Bucks, so it could be understandable. But just to have that dominant win against the number 1 seed is huge for them. Huge for me as a fan to hopefully get my hype up back, because after that Wizards loss, I was like, all right, we're not going to win the finals this year. And the finals are back on. It's back. And I just hope that the locked-in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum that we got last night, that combined for 70 points each, with Tatum only playing 3/4 of the game, and let's ride that out, and against the best team in the league. So that's what I want to see happen. They got to be better on defense, be better. Their coach is weird. Joe Mazzulla. He doesn't call timeouts when they need him. His plays are iffy when they run them. So they gotta get past that. Joe has to get his crap together, and um, hopefully I can see my beloved Celtics in the finals. I'm already worried that we're gonna have to face the Heat,
I know you are.
and the Heat aren't good. Like they're not good at all, and I'm still petrified.
Last year was a battle, though.
I know,
It's
and it's
taking a
this,
toll on you.
and it's a similar. It's pretty much the same team. Besides, now they have Kevin Love and Cody Zeller.
Hmm.
But God, I like if the Heat come in and just because the other thing about the Celtics is both Jalen and Jason are pretty timid guys, pretty quiet guys. So when you go up against a dog like Jimmy Butler, it just makes me nervous. Like some guy that's gonna bark at you, some guy that's gonna push your face down in the paint a little bit. This is gonna be a tough matchup. Hopefully they can win some games and end up playing the Sixers. That'd be
Smart's like that, though.
huh?
Smart's your dog.
He is, but
Smart's your dog.
So Smart is our dog, but the dog has been put down for half the season. I don't know if he was euthanized halfway through the season or what, but he has not been the same. We need him to be level 1, A1 Marcus Smart if we're gonna do anything, make some noise, and that's it. That's a great point that you brought up. That he's a key to this Celtics team. Is we need him. We need Grant Williams to figure out how to make a free throw. He hasn't made a free throw since he might have last night, but he hasn't made a free throw since he looked at Donovan Mitchell with 0 zeros on the clock and he had to make one, and he said, "I'm gonna make them both," and proceeded to miss both. That was the worst game I've ever watched. I watched that in Europe. It was like 5 a.m. and I'm like, why am I still watching this? Like they're gonna lose in overtime, and he bricks both of them, and I was like, this is over. But hopefully my Celtics they can keep up. They still have a chance to make the 1 seed though. It's possible.
I mean, that win last night was huge.
Yeah, it was, and they
also could be a game where like you go to the playoffs and Bucks look back on it. They say,
that's not happening again.
We're revenge for that.
Yeah, it's possible. The Bucks. So speaking of the Bucks, the night before against the Pacers, did you see Drew Holiday scored 51 and Giannis with 38, 17 rebounds and 12 assists. 38.
I can't believe that Drew Holiday's still like around and effective.
He's good. He is. He's really good. I know, and it's funny because it feels like he's been on the Bucks for forever, and that's just not true. He got there when they won the chip.
Oh.
All right.
It does feel like he's been there a while.
Other quick storylines that I'll just talk about real quick. The Knicks have been really fun lately. The Cavs have stayed fun all year. This Nets team without Kevin Durant, Cade, and Kyrie have been a lot of fun with Miles Bridges or Mikal Bridges, not Miles. He's in prison. But anyways, Mikal Bridges, he's been a lot of fun on the Nets. They've been scoring a lot and they just have a fun team now, which is different than what they've had the past couple years. The Clippers, Paul George is injured. He got badly injured against the Thunder. And I guess the last story I want to talk about is the Thunder, actually. This young, fun, this has got to be the most fun team in the league and one of the most rootable teams in the league, the OKC Thunder. They have Shai Gilgeous. They have Jalen Williams from both Stanford and the Razorbacks, Arkansas.
And Mr. Charge.
Is
Jalen
that
Williams?
Is that the
loves to take charges?
That's the Arkansas one, right? Yeah.
That dude, I remember in the tournament last year, it's like he's addicted to taking charges.
So he led. I don't know why I said leaded. He led the NCAA in charges taken last year, and this year as a rookie, he leads the NBA in charges taken. So you're right.
It's such like a niche skill to have.
It's a good skill to have, though.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna put my body on the line every night, and we're getting these foul calls.
Yeah, and in today's version of basketball, where free throws are so much, like people used to use those all the time, and refs call everything. It's a great skill to have on your team.
Oh yeah.
The other Jalen Williams, he's a
Yeah,
scoring machine. He is. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year because it's a year-long thing, and he's only had this stretch the past couple months. But he's creeping his way. He's going to be the second in voting for the rookie of the year. He's going to be an all rookie. They have Josh Giddey too, which everyone loves. Shai Gilgeous. They don't even have Chet playing. So
I
well,
was
if
about
they
to
can,
say I need Chet back.
I know. So this is the year. They're not
And
tanking anymore. They're like these last couple games would be a classic Thunder, just lose them all. But they want to make the play in and they want to make some noise. So I'm excited to see what happens, and hopefully they make it in because I think a play in game between the Lakers, and what is it right now? It's Minnesota, the Lakers, them, and the Pelicans. That's a great play
Minnesota.
in. Minnesota, who's also they got Cat back and have been on a tear as well. So I'm excited to see where the play-in goes. This is a great year for the play-in.
Is in the West. He's playing is kind of poopy.
Yeah, it's like, do we need to really see these teams again? The
No,
Bulls are making their way. They want to make their way to the playoffs too. So that'll be interesting.
don't
But
just don't do it for me.
no, they don't. Yeah,
Get it up.
yeah, they don't get it for me. So that is your NBA playoff push storylines, and I'm gonna go if since I made you pick your champions, and I guess it's not the beginning of the season, but based off right now, it's gonna take all my power not to take the Celtics. But on the West side, if KD can stay healthy and they can put stuff together, the Suns are definitely an option. The Nuggets are up there. They've been great all season. I don't think the Grizzlies make it to the finals. I don't think the Kings make it to the finals, sadly.
Too much going on there.
Yeah, and it's funny. There's a path where the Lakers can make it, but that would take 16 games of LeBron staying healthy, AD staying healthy, and more than 16 games if they don't. I mean, they're not going to sweep everybody. So it's going to be 3 series of them having to stay healthy and their role players hitting shots. But there's definitely a path there for them. I'm going Nuggets, and it's kind of chalk, but I'm gonna go Nuggets Celtics. The Bucks can definitely easily make it. They can definitely beat my Celtics. The Sixers have been playing good. They have had Harden out for a little bit. I think he came back against the Mavericks. Yes, he has. He needs to play a little bit better. He's great at the assist numbers, but he needs to score some more points. Did you know he hasn't had a 40-point game in like 4 years? Yeah. I saw it the other day on
Pretty
Twitter. I was like,
surprising.
damn. Let me look it up because
You don't need him to be that scorer that he used to be though.
no, but
Like Embiid has been that dominant.
come playoff
I
time. All right, it's
guess,
been
but
2
like they
years,
have
not 4 years.
scores.
Yeah, they do. They do have score because they have Maxey, Melton off the bench. I like. They got Jaden McDaniels in the trade deadline, who's been all right for them. He's hit a couple big shots, but they need to. And Tobias Harris needs to play like how they're paying him.
Hmm,
And it's just the Sixers. Like it's that stink to them. Like they're not gonna make it past the second round.
hmm. Yeah, it's like one of those. I'll believe it when I see it.
Exactly, and it's it's the Sixers combined with now James Harden. It's like that's like the biggest. All right, something horrific's gonna happen. They just need
Yeah.
Chris Paul to make it a trifecta.
You know what my dream finals is?
What's that?
Bucks Lakers. Giannis versus LeBron would be awesome.
That would be electric. It'd be like the
Obviously, a lot would have to go right on the Lakers side, but I think the Bucks come out of the East again, but like reestablish themselves as the best team in the East.
there's definitely. I mean, it was that 7-game series against the Celtics last year. They didn't have Middleton, who's a Celtic killer, and they needed him. They would have won that series with him. The Celtics needed every bucket they could get against that series. So it's going to be a tough season where we feel like we say this, but there's a lot of parity in the league here.
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
See, you got me fired up for the playoffs.
All right, good.
Like, I'm ready to go.
I'm glad. It's going to be high level basketball with a lot of fun teams, and honestly, like even the Cleveland Cavaliers, who we haven't mentioned really at all, they can get hot at the right time, and and win some playoff series too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Cavs Knicks in the first round should be a really fun series.
Especially with how the Knicks have been playing and the Jalen Brunson. We all kind of poo-pooed the Jalen Brunson signing. We were like, yeah, he's a solid player, but you kind of paid him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And now at the end of the season, it's a bargain of a deal. He has been an absolute stellar
been
guard
awesome.
for them and really changed his team around. All right, I think that's it. I think I covered pretty much everything.
We'll do a full playoff preview, of course.
Oh yeah. Once the
When the
seedings
season
are
actually
final.
ends.
Yep, and we'll make
Still got a few more games left.
we'll fill out the bracket. We'll make our little predictions going all the way. So
NBA bracket challenge.
you want to do some college corner before we go?
Yeah. Our best recruiter just got hired as the head coach of George Mason. So
I saw that. I was gonna ask you about him, if he was any good. So he's your head recruiter?
Yeah. And that's not like his title, but he's the guy with the most local connections, and the players really like him, and it sucks to lose him. So hopefully they need to find another guy who has strong local ties. If they do that, they'll be fine. He was like the point man on who their biggest targets for next year's class are pretty certain to come here. So I'm not sure if that changes. I hope not. But we'll see.
I was gonna say, do you think any transfers are gonna be incoming going to George Mason?
Us?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. I just want to throw it out there. The the Gamecocks, they got themselves their first recruit in the portal. They got a guy from Minnesota who's originally from South Carolina at some point. He was at some point in South Carolina. He's a good scorer, about 9.9 a game. And six what I liked is 6.3 assists a game. It's a role that we really need, a point guard who could pass and open up the guys. So he's going to use a lot of Jacoby Wright's minutes, which it's fine with me. Jacoby Wright's a good player, but he needs, I think on the bench he could be a better player. So he should hopefully start for us and be a instant impact, which apparently he chose us over like Arkansas and Kentucky and a bunch of other big SEC schools. So this was a huge get for Lamont Paris, and hopefully more on the way.
I start somewhere.
Yep. Got to start somewhere. And the last thing I got from my college corner is today is our Lord and Savior's birthday, Shane Beamer. So I wanted to give him a nice
The last thing.
Huh?
What do you mean? You got a huge game tonight.
Oh, yeah. Crap, you're right. You're totally right. Yeah, you're right. 9 p.m. The Lady Gamecocks are going up against Iowa, against the best. Probably, I think Aaliyah Boston's definitely the best player in women's basketball, but doesn't get the limelight, doesn't score as many points as Caitlin Clark. So history. Caitlin Clark is coming against the Gamecocks. She's going to be in full force. They're going to be the hardest game yet. Of course it is. It's the Final Four, and we just got to keep dominating. I think we can let her score a bunch if we need to, and we just need to keep up with it, have the team scoring as they normally do. But a big game from Aaliyah Boston would be awesome. Get to show that she is the dominant player in women's basketball. And God, I'm like about to burp or something.
Good?
Yeah. I was just filling up with air. But anyways, they need to be dominant. They need to play good defense, as they will. And I have faith in the GOAT, Don Staley, to take us to another natty.
Caitlin Clark's overrated. He'll kick their ass.
Let's go. I think so too. Everyone's like
30 on you.
Everyone's like, oh, she's saving women's basketball. And I guess apparently the last game that they played was the highest basketball game ESPN had viewers for, including all the NBA games they've had this season. So that is pretty damn impressive.
That's
yeah.
Really impressive.
So this should be, I think this, I mean, if that's the most watched women's basketball game in history, this should top it. I mean, it's a better story, it's a better matchup. Um, but hopefully Aaliyah Boston shows that she is the woman in charge. She is the one that the league goes through. And I'm excited to see them face off against each other. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I'm trying to find the line right now. Windows not loading. Minus 11.5. Carolina.
Still? God
Minus
damn.
800 for a Final Four game.
Wow. Holy crap. They're just that dominant, though. Like, I can see it covering. There's definitely a chance that covers. So that's massive. All right. And then, yeah, that's all I got now. Happy birthday, Shane. My hero. All right. You got anything?
What do you want me to say?
Nothing. Yeah.
Happy birthday, I
yeah,
guess.
there you go. A little happy birthday would be nice. There you go. So is that all you got?
That's all I got. Yeah, not much else going on. Just waiting to see how we handle the portal.
Yeah, the portal's gonna be huge this season. So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed. That was a pretty damn packed episode, and I loved it. So hopefully you all enjoyed, and we'll see everybody next Tuesday.